Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Triggering Chaos. I'm your host, Saul. This is my co-host, Em.
Yo ho, fiddly dee, being a pirate is all right with me. Okay, we got that joke out of our systems right early. Today, we're talking about Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger, the 35th anniversary of Super Sentai. And also, let's get this out of our system right away. Butchered into being half of Power Rangers Super Megaforce. If you like Megaforce and Super Megaforce,
We have
we
so
don't.
many questions.
You're allowed to like it, but no thanks.
Look, let us put it this way, and we'll be fair about it.
Mm-hmm.
You can like the show. We just think the original Japanese separated shows have more class and character to them, and we think overall they're the better shows.
Here's the thing. This is Soul's first ever time fully watching a Sentai. And it showed such reverence and love to the Sentais that came before. Soul, do you think it was a good anniversary series?
Honestly, I think other than a few little things, and I will admit to nitpicking, so just to be fair, overall, yes.
It did what any good anniversary series should do. But we'll get into that later. For now, let's talk about Sentai 35.
Indeed, let's get on the highway to Henshin.
So, we are not going to talk about the movies tied in it. We might mention a few things, but we did not watch I think this has 3 movies that aired during its airing, and then Gokaiger came back for several other movies. I mean, the first time I ever fully watched a Gokaiger thing was the it was the Forze and Go Busters movie, which was basically just Kamen Rider Decade versus Gokaiger the movie with Forze and Go Busters in the background. Like, isn't this our summer movie? No, it's ours.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, Gokaiger is one of the most popular Sentai shows ever made. I don't know if it is the most popular, but it certainly is one of the ones with the most reverence, especially in the West. Largely because when Megaforce and Super Megaforce came out, people were like, what was this one based off? And then they watched what it was based off, and they were just like blown away by how out of the park this is. But yes, this is the Pirate Sentai. You may have seen the suits here and there, but first of all, let's just talk about the logo. I love the Gokaiger logo of the skull with the sabers crossed. It's a good logo. But yeah, this is Soul's first full Sentai and my second full Sentai. I've watched a few Sentais partway through and then either lost interest or life got in the way and I never picked it back up.
It happens.
The older I get, the harder it is for me to fully watch a 50-episode show with nothing but subtitles. My dyslexia and my headaches do not like that.
Well, we cheated a little bit, and the both of us watched it, paused, laughed, and made merry.
Yeah, and actually a few times Soul was able to help me, because sometimes they just said like an entire paragraph, and it was on screen for like 10 seconds. I'm like, what? What did they say? Oh, Marvel's going to steal from that guy. Why didn't they just say that?
Because Marvelous has a flair for the dramatics and is never reckless whatsoever.
No. Speaking of Marvelous, let's actually see the suits.
All right. Marvelous suits, one and all.
We've already discussed these suits in our top 15 suits.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't reach my top 15. They made the Souls. And as much as I don't care for them, there are some sweet design to these things, and they carry a lot of character in them. And the suit actors do a great job of emulating the non-suit actors, or
really
the other way around. I forget which one it is. But here are the 6 members of Gokaiger. Sadly, they're one of the teams without a Black Ranger, and black is my favorite color.
Yeah. Okay, let's go off. We have Marvelous, who's in red in the center.
Mm-hmm.
We have Luca over on the right in yellow.
Mm-hmm.
We have Joe in blue here on the far right. To the left in pink. I can never say her name right, so if you could cut in here.
Ahim de Famille.
Yeah, in
It's
case you
basically
can't
space
tell,
French.
she's royalty, so.
Space French.
We get it! You're from space!
She's holding our navigator, Navi the robot.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about her later. Behind her and to the left is Don, or as the crew have nicknamed him, Doc, which honestly, I like that. And behind them, we have the only Earthling, everyone else is from space, Guy Ikari, who is Gokai Silver.
Which, funny enough, they all look human. I understand that's probably just to save on budget, but at the same time...
Look, if Star Trek can get away with it, and they had us, every other show can blame Star Trek for it.
You can't blame Star Trek for everything.
I can blame it for a lot of things.
But this is our entire good guy crew. Or Sentai team.
Good with quotation marks, because they are pirates. They start off the show as anti-heroes.
Well, to be fair, compared to what else is in the universe, yeah, we can just call them the good guys.
Yeah. Although one of the premises of this show is to meet up with previous Sentai or Power Ranger teams from the past. And many of them do not like the fact that the current heroes are a bunch of selfish pirates. Because many Sentai teams before were the kind of people who were like, I'm going to give every piece of clothes off my back in order to keep people warm and safe around me without breaking any laws about being flashers. But the Gokaigers literally only come to Earth because they're after treasure.
Well, they are pirates. At least they didn't lie about it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I do like about the Gokaigers. They start the show off coming up with a bullhorn going, hey, we're pirates. We're here for treasure.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
What I do like about them, as each of the characters have had tragedy in their past, they do stand up for the right thing, but it's not their primary goal.
No.
And it's believable. And at the start, they do basically come up with excuses of why they did the right thing. But as the show progresses, they just start doing the right thing for the right reason.
And to be fair, the only one that is actually the goody-goody two-shoes guy in this team is Guy in the middle, Silver.
Ahim is the nicest of the core five, but she doesn't have the ability to make the pirates do the good thing for the good reason. She can nudge them, and I do like that about her. We'll talk about that later. But Guy, as the only human and only one who knows what a Sentai is and has grown up as a Sentai fanboy, wants to be a hero. So I do like that dichotomy he brought to the team. But we'll talk about that when we talk about Guy. For now, we should talk about the man of the hour himself.
The man who is never reckless, Marvelous.
Yeah, that's a running joke for Soul because Marvelous show says, "Oh, Marvelous is never reckless," and then Marvelous immediately runs off and does the most reckless thing he can.
Yeah, you know, like all captains do.
Marvelous is one of those characters that is, you either instantaneously think he is great or you never like him. I know a few people who don't like Marvelous, and there's nothing. Marvelous is never going to win you over if you don't like him at the start. He knows who he is. He knows what he wants. He's very full of himself, but he's also able to back it up in most situations. There's a rare time where he boasts and then can't back it up. Normally, when he boasts, he backs it up almost immediately in the most showy way. In fact, that's his catchphrase: "Let's make it showy." And I like that. Before a fight, he draws a sword and said, "Let's make it showy." And what do these guys do? They style on the enemy. Every one of the Gokaigers has a fighting style. His is cutlass and gun at the same time, very casually using both. It almost feels like he's almost never giving his full effort, but when he does, best fight in the show.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, and he does feel like a pirate captain. He's pretty smart. He's not a super genius, but he's able to think his way through several situations.
Here's the thing. He doesn't have to be the be-all, grand-all genius. I think we can come to that agreement. The thing that I like about him is that he's not heartless. He's not, like, just straight for the treasure. He does have a sense of right and wrong.
Yeah.
And where that In fact, even in, I think it was the second episode.
Yeah.
Please forgive me. I do not remember all 50 episodes off the top of my head. He meets a student who wants to fight against the evil empire. The Zangiek, if I remember how to pronounce it properly.
Correct. It is the Zangiek Empire.
Zangiek. And he gives the kid his morpher and key, which we'll explain in a moment. Just work with us for just a moment, everybody.
To be fair, the kid managed to pickpocket them off Marvelous, and Marvelous was like, okay, you've got gumption, kid, and you want to use my powers to fight the bad guys? Go right ahead and try.
Now, I don't believe Marvelous would have let the kid get killed.
No, because as soon as the kid gets overwhelmed and loses his power, Marvelous steps right in, grabbing his powers back and gets into the fight. But his whole thing was, kid, if you can save the day by stealing my powers, okay, yeah, you stole my powers and saved the day. Who am I to say you didn't have the right to do that?
And the thing is, he didn't call the kid in the wrong.
No.
Now, the kid was clearly in over his head from the start. Let's not pretend otherwise.
Just a normal middle schooler or early high school student who just picked up in a sense, a samurai katana and tried to fight off. While these are mooks that aren't very smart, they have the numbers advantage and they have conquered planets. So yeah, it's believable someone who's never fought before their entire life couldn't win. But what Marvelous was basically saying is, I like your moxie, kid. I don't think you can do it, but prove me wrong. Like, if your moxie's strong enough, that's amazing. And he doesn't kick the kid when he's down. He just picks up his powers and go, all right, you couldn't do it. I'm going to do it now. And what I do love is that kid shows up later and is still fighting the Zangiek, only now with a bit of experience, but no powers. And Marvel's just listening, going, huh, you stuck to your guns, kid. All right. Full respect.
And that's going to be something that's going to show up a lot in this show. And that's one of the things that I really did appreciate about the show. While it is the 30th anniversary of the Sentais, and it shows off an episodic trying to show, well, I should say tries to show off every Sentai team. A lot of them got kind of passed into the movie. Yeah, but a majority of them got into the show, and it shows that despite losing their powers, because the Zangiek first tried to conquer the Earth.
Yeah.
All 29 teams.
34 teams came together, combined their powers. Yeah, this is the 35th anniversary.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was the 30th. My brain farted for a minute there.
It's fine. It's fine. That's with you in numbers. I expected that. That's okay. But yeah, the 34 previous teams came together and blasted this armada out of the orbit around Earth.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the Zangiek Empire have conquered so much of space that, that was just one fleet.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this also had the other side effect of all the teams losing their ranger powers.
The powers were then scattered to space, and we don't know how long in universe it was between Gosei Sentai, Gokaiger, the previous one, and Gokaiger. For us, the audience, it was a week.
Yeah,
because the next Sentai show takes place a week after the previous one ends.
I want to see what I want to see.
Had to be
again
a significant chunk of time because it's enough time for a crew of pirates to go around the universe gathering up these magic MacGuffins that are the powers of the previous Rangers.
But still, just short of time that majority of the teams are still alive.
Yeah,
I do say majority because. Yeah, one or two teams might make appearances as ghosts.
Yeah. Also, some of the actors have unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things I will give credit for is they got an actor from every single team to show up at least in the show or the movie. They didn't get everyone back for every team. That would have been ludicrous.
If they had someone managed to do that, I would have applauded. And been amazed
because that would involve some necromancy.
Indeed.
But one of the reasons why that happened is this was right after the major tsunami that destroyed a lot of Japan and wrecked that nuclear power plant. Gokaiger was always planned to be a bit of an anniversary special, but then two of the past Sentai started a Twitter group that gathered up as many of the previous actors as they could and allowed them to show up pro bono in Gokaiger because Japan was at a really low and depressed point, and Sentai has always been something to make kids happy.
In fact, we're going to talk about that with the next pirate once we're done talking here.
Yeah, they wanted to bring just some message of your heroes are still out there, kids. Even if it feels like we're powerless, we are still out there and we are still trying.
Right. And just for a side note, this also, we'll talk about it later on after I manage to get end the watching entire series. But Kamen Rider Geats was also kind of in the same boat because his run was during COVID, like the major.
It was right at the end of COVID, I believe.
And and they changed his pace of his show from the more quirky, sentimental hero to a more self-reassured because they were trying to give reassurance to kids and everybody that watched the show. And that's one of the things that both Sentai and Kamen Rider, I think, do well, is that they fit the shows around a certain message, around a certain confidence that they're trying to show.
And again, going back to Marvelous, his so sure of himself energy and his even when things are bad, he does the right thing must have been so refreshing to kids who just look at the damage that tsunami did. It
did a lot of damage.
There are still scars from it.
Yeah.
And I do think the Gokaigers are a perfect way of stealing back hope.
Not only that, it just gives at least we had something to entertain us and to help us push forward. Plus, I know that's not going to fix the damage, but something's better than nothing.
Yeah, and also just because of how much raw heart and love was put into this show.
Indeed.
Also, just a small note about Marvelous, he has the best outfits. He just looks so damn cool. Like, his actor does an amazing job at, acting, being the pirate, and has some of the best facial animations in the show. But not animations, but face acting. Sorry, I've been watching some anime lately, so animation was the first one to pop in my mouth. But yeah, none of the core 6 pirates turn in a bad performance.
No.
We may not care for the character that much, but their actors all knock it out of the goddamn park.
Look, there is only one character on the Sentai team that I just was not a fan of. And we'll talk about him when we get to him. But overall, marvelous self-reassurance, but also a sense of on-the-fly planning because he's not really that much of a deep planner.
No.
Like, he can come with a plan, don't get me wrong, but he's no military strategist.
No, and if one of his crew members has a better idea, fuck it, they got a better idea, let's go for it.
Yeah.
He knows when to step back. He's that kind of leader of, I brought everyone together, they all rally around me, but I'm not the one to solve all the problems.
No.
If that was the case, he wouldn't need a crew.
He at least knows when to listen to his crew and when to kind of argue with them. So, there's that.
I have a bit of technical issue on my end.
Yep, I saw.
Okay,
yep.
It's fixed. It's fixed. Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah, a quick quirk there, so we're fine.
Yep. Yeah, anyway, speaking of combat, let's go on to his first mate.
1 second.
Sure.
There we go. Okay. Had to click on it.
That's no problem. And this is, like I said, his first mate, Joe. I'm not pronouncing Joe's last name.
I keep forgetting he has a last name because it's always just Joe.
Yeah, that's what I love. His name is just Joe.
And
Joe from
if you
space.
notice in my image, he's looking a little out of it.
Yeah. Joe is the comic serious member of the crew. He's also damn terrifying with a sword, and he's trained in dual swords, so to make him extra swords is just dangerous.
Oh, he's even more dangerous with 5 swords, and that's how that works. He just takes his friend's swords and feeds them on the two swords with multiple blades.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in the best sense of the way. Joe is the first member of the crew Marvelous gets, and he is the most dead fast loyal to the captain. Like he is the first mate whose job is to have the captain's back, and nobody does it better. In the first scene, canonically, where the two fight side by side, their styles jive so well that Joe's just like, "Oh, I feel comfortable here. This is
Mm-hmm.
nice." And Marvel is just like, "Oh, I get to show off. This is great."
Joe was also a former member of the Zangief army
Yeah,
or empire.
he enlisted for, you join the military for better life, even though they're the evil dictators that take over the world. And when they ordered him to kill a group of deadly, dangerous rebels who are just starving kids,
He kind of took issue with that.
he turned around and stabbed his commanding officers, and then they beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And then
So
they just kept beating the shit out of him until one of his friends rescued him. The two of them ran, and they just stayed on the run, separating each other because they realized it wasn't safe for them to go together because they both would be tracked because the
yeah,
Zangief tracked their soldiers. So while Joe is running for his life, being chased by the Zangief, who are totally just toying with him,
yeah, they pretty much were.
Marvel's walks up and sees the Zangief chasing one of their own and go, "Oh, what's going on here? Oh shit, that one guy's really good at fighting. I want that." And he saves from that party and then rips the tracker off, which was supposed to electrocute Joe to death, but somehow Marvelous tanks the electrocution damage, and Joe just like, "I'm free. You have a crewmate for life. What are we doing?"
Yeah, pretty much. That's like
And
once again, Marvelous isn't reckless. Whether with his
and
own life or somebody else's.
it's again Marvel's showing off that, hey, I can back up my boast. I didn't say it wouldn't be painful,
I
but
didn't
I
say
backed
no,
it
no,
up.
to be fair, I didn't say you couldn't back it up.
No, it was, but yeah, and Joe is, like I said, he's the comic serious. He has only one non-fighting trait, and that is he likes to bake cakes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, and work out.
Yeah, one of the crew is discussing things on the deck of the ship. He's just working out in the
He's
background,
either doing push-ups or sit-ups somewhere in the background.
ab crunches. Also, his actor, who was a rookie actor at the time, knocked it out of the park. Like, sure, being the stone serious one is not an easy job, but I love the story of a little kid writing him
Mm-hmm.
a letter saying, "Joe is so brave, and I want to be kind of like you." And he's just like, "I am doing something good." But there's nothing wrong with Joe. Joe is just
No,
he
he's
doesn't
what the show
add that.
needed before the second made, in my opinion.
Joe doesn't add that much, but he does have a couple of storylines in the show, and they're really good
Mm-hmm.
storylines. They're usually about lines of either his swordsmanship, which he takes very seriously,
Mm-hmm.
or saving his mentor, or
Which we'll talk
later
about that
on.
coming up.
Yeah, but what I absolutely love is Joe and his suit actor worked very hard together to create Joe's unique fighting style of not just the two swords. When Joe only has one sword, he almost always fights with one arm behind his back, just to show that, oh, you're all such rookie melee fighters. I don't need to go full out, so I'll fight you with one arm behind my back.
Which is actually I'm not sure if it was, but with the kind of sword that Joe uses, which they're called cutlasses, if I remember the correct term, having the arm tucked behind back like that is actually a proper fighting stance when you're doing that, because it keeps the arm out of danger's way, and you're not going to risk getting it chopped off or have it in the way when you're swinging. So it actually is proper sword fighting stance.
But it's still not. It's based off proper swords and stance,
Yeah.
but it's also done in a way to just make Joe look more
Mm-hmm.
proficient.
No, I'm just saying, like they really did something really great with it, because yes, it's him showing off a bit, but it's also showing that he knows what he's doing, and I think that's a nice little touch on both ways.
And Joe the character does it both in and out of his Sentai suit, and I love that. And I that's one of the things I do know about Sentai is they spend a lot of times with the stunt actors who wear the suits just so that they can get the character mannerisms right for both sides. Because it'd be extremely strange if Joe had a completely different fighting style in his suit than he did when he's out of his suit. And another thing Gokaiger did extremely well: great out of morph suits, great out of morphing suit fights. Like, wow, the pirates can fight. But speaking of the pirates, let's get on to the next member, who's basically the third in command, the Yellow Ranger, Luca. Again, not pronouncing her last name.
Look, you're
Luca
lucky we can pronounce their first names properly.
Luca might be nonstop the funniest member of the team, and she's the second most serious member.
Yeah, but she's serious. She's serious, but she's also got like the fiery personality of the group.
Yeah, she's the most driven for wealth. Due to her own backstory, she grew up on a planet that the Zombiak basically just carpet bombed for funsies. So there were no resources, no means of survival. She was huddled in trash cans with her sister and their friends, living from meal to meal they could steal. Hence why she is a thief. She spent her entire life stealing from the Zombiak to survive.
Yep.
After losing her sister because she didn't have the funds to save her sister, also did not have the medical training to know how to even properly carry an injured person, and made her situation worse.
Yeah,
Luca then dedicated the rest of her life to just being a giant pain in the Zombiak side. She wanted to have enough money to buy her own planet as a dream, but that was not really a serious goal. It was more along the lines of, if I could get enough, that'd be great. What I really want to do is just live a safe and comfortable life.
Mm-hmm.
So she meets Joe and Marvelous when they're stealing, and they bump into each other going like, "Oh, you're the guy stealing. Oh, you're the infamous pirates." And they kind of come to an agreement and team up, and the three of them.
Well, telling her that they're after the universe's greatest treasure, I'm sure helped immensely.
Well, to be fair, she didn't believe it because it's more of a fairy tale. But because these two badasses were so dead serious on it, she's like, you know what? You guys are fucking with the Zombiaks. I don't see any reason not to team up.
I'm just saying, that didn't hurt.
It did not hurt, no. And oftentimes when stuff gets very serious in combat, it's Marvelous, Joe, and Luca leading the charge in terms of, oh yeah, these three are just stone cold badasses. Like, she's not as deadly as a fighter as Joe or Marvelous, but because she's so serious, she knows how to handle herself in a fight. There are a couple scenes where she's training with Joe.
Yeah, she also kind of uses, like, I don't know where the rope comes from, but she takes the sword, just ties like a rope to the end of it, but just starts swinging around like doing the
She's Kratos. One of our friends said, "Oh my God, Luke is Kratos."
You know, yeah.
And that's what made Luca her favorite.
I never actually thought about that. You just said that.
And if she doesn't want to do her Kratos attack, she can combine the sword to be Darth fucking Maul. So Luca's also much more happy with swords, but unlike Joe, she's also just fine using guns. It's not her first choice.
No.
But when she's given two guns, okay, she's still gonna kick ass, but she prefers being given two swords.
Yeah.
Because Lucas seems the most money and shallow, you think, she's just greedy, but it really comes from the whole place of, I know extreme poverty. Yeah. Never again.
She kind of, how do I put this? She reminds me of the one who tries to pretend that she's not teaching you a lesson, but in the long run, she really is trying to help you out. It's really kind of hard to put that in specific words, but
she's also the one to, if anyone goes too goofy, she usually reins them back in. This is usually done towards the next member we're going to talk about, but she will call Marvelous out for his bullshit. Yeah. She'll call Joe out for his bullshit. She'll call everyone out for their bullshit except for Pink. She is extremely protective of the Pink Ranger because she's the youngest and the weakest, and Luca lost her little sister, so obviously she's taking the Pink Ranger as her surrogate sister, and it's very believable. They're very cute side by side, but I love the Pink Ranger.
That's what I was talking. I thought Pink was next.
No, we're going to talk about Doc, who is the worst fighter.
But the tech repair guy. He was hired to repair the ship, and then they recruited him from there.
No, what happened is they hired him to repair the ship. He realized they wanted parts, so he wanted nothing about it. But then he did promise to help them, so he came aboard to help, and he took one look at the pigsty these three warriors are living in, and just cleaned the ship and fed them. And they're like, "You're not allowed to leave.
We're kidnapping you."
Basically, yeah. They kidnapped him, but he kind of wanted to go anyway. So he is the ship's doctor, mechanic, cook, uh, and major comic relief. He is the scare. He's most scared. He is unexperienced in combat.
He's the accidental warrior.
He is the only person else who could do his job would be Jackie Chan in terms of this is now a weapon I'm using.
He's also getting his steps in every intro.
Yes. He also keeps fixing his uniform like he just peed himself and he didn't realize he was doing that.
That's the best way we can describe that, because anything else would be... Well, we gotta keep the show PG.
Yeah. He is just, like I said, he's the funniest member of the crew. Like, he has the best overreactions. He often does
Here's the thing. Worst. I like Doc. He's funny to me. And he's funny in the right way that I get a chuckle out of him.
Yeah. They never take his cowardice too far.
No, he knows he's not going to be the one to straight up yell at the enemy or go charging him blindly without a plan, and I can appreciate that. Because
but when he sees the armada floating down from the sky, he's the one who goes, "Oh God, that's a lot of ships."
To be fair, that was a lot of ships.
Everyone else is a lot of lines of "We're too stoked to react to this," and Doc's job is to take the reaction for the other crew members and house it.
Yeah, because
he does so many fights where he's running away from the enemy, trips. Hey, this puts me in an advantageous spot. All right, I'm going to use this advantage.
In fact, one of the best episodes I find is that he faked putting his backstory in a magazine. There was some long-lost hero
with amnesia.
So by the end of the episode, he has to make it. He goes about to making it a reality so they can save his crew in Marvelous. And he made an entire plan back around it, and pretty much essentially backed up his fake story.
But I absolutely love the entire plan was just to save Marvelous, and then he gets to the end, and Marvelous, all right, what's next part of the plan? I only planned to save you. Oh, okay, so we fight to death together. I'm down for that.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was a badass rescue. Not gonna lie.
I mean,
you rescued me from the greatest warrior in space. Shit, that was good.
Like Marvel's like, well, you made it this far, so I guess I'll get the rest of the way.
There are so many fights where Doc falls into victory, and every single time his reaction is, "Okay, this works."
The man fell into a cactus and still manages to find a proper position to shoot.
One of my favorite ones is he just camouflages himself by stuffing grass into his outfit.
So
he's high as a bush, and he jumps up and starts shooting like a madman.
I remember that.
There's so many, Doc has the worst gun safety control. The man just fires like a madman without aiming.
Luckily for him, to reload the gun. Why bother?
Luckily for him, the enemy tend to be like a big cluster of guys, so he's gonna hit somebody. His preferred fighting style is two guns. He can use the cutlass. He's just clearly not proficient with it.
He also made the team's cannon using the keys.
Oh yeah, he not only repairs the gear, he upgrades it, and I like that. Like, he's been around the gear long enough to figure out, hey, I can do something with it. Like, we were lacking a bit of firepower, and he looks the crew one day and goes, okay, to build our super cannon, I kind of need all the parts from your current active weapons. I know this inconveniences makes us a lot weaker, but if I could, and then Joe hands him his sword first, like, I trust you.
Yeah, they have faith in him, so it's not like he's trying to pretend to be something he's not. The crew knows if he's saying this, he full-heartedly believes it.
Yep. It's just my favorite thing that Joe, the guy obsessed with his swords, is like, oh, all right, here you go. Yeah. I will weaken myself. It makes the team stronger. Joe says nothing. He just, here, hands over swords. Not even saying here. He just stands up first, gives sword, nod.
And then I think next with Marvelous, Luca, and...
Well, Ahi was last because she was the first one away.
Yeah. I think she would have been first if she had been closer.
Yes. But Joe was not the closest. Marvelous was.
Yeah, but Marvelous wouldn't do anything too reckless.
No, nothing else. But yeah, Doc is used perfectly in situations where things are a bit too tense. Let's just look over to Gokai Green. Tension broken by him being the goofball.
Yep. And the thing is, he's also the one that usually changes the outfits the most.
Yeah, he does. He's usually the one most likely to do that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, let's talk about the fifth member of the crew, Princess Ahim, the lone survivor of her world that was destroyed by the Zongak.
I don't remember the name of her planet, and it kind of doesn't come up that often.
Her planet she shares her last name with the planet.
Ah, so we will not be pronouncing it.
No, it's Famil. She joins the crew because she knows that some of her people are out there in space, because if you can space travel, obviously destroying the planet's not going to be the end of your people. But she wants to join the Gokaigers, the biggest thorn in the Zongyak side, to be a symbol for her people.
Yep.
When she joins, she can't even pick up the cutlass.
She is the
heart. She's the heart of the team.
Well, I was gonna say at the start she is kind of the weak princess stereotype in a sense. I mean, she greatly improves. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of fighting ability,
yeah, at the start of the crew, she is definitely behind Doc in terms of combat ability. But
yeah,
by the end of the show, she has left above him by a wide margin, and she's the most serious about improving herself. There's an episode where their weapons are being magnetically stolen by a monster. That doesn't bother Marvelous Joe or Luca, because they're like, oh, hey, we prefer our weapons, but we know how to fight barehanded. Doc and Ahi don't. So when they see someone teaching kung fu in the park, she's the first one to jump at learning to improve herself. And she does it seriously. Doc is scared because he's like, I've never fought with a weapon before, and this kung fu stuff seems way too complicated for me. But her raw determination to improve pulls Doc along.
Yep.
And that's what Ahim does. Anytime the crew is not fully together, she brings them together. If the team is squabbling, she calms them down.
Yep.
If they're unsure what to do next, she reminds them, the Zongyak are the jerks here. Let's deal with them. She gets an episode where she gets kidnapped. And first of all, she realizes the guy trying to kidnap her is using a fake gun. And then she still disarms him anyway, like a fucking badass, because she's had those kung fu lessons. And it leads to one of the funniest episodes, because she got kidnapped for money, and she realizes this guy's in a poor situation. So, technically I'm a bad guy now, so I kind of get why you're doing this. But it ends up with her blaming the monster of the week for the kidnapping, because the pirates thought, oh no, she got kidnapped, we need to rescue her, and they never find out the guy who kidnapped her is just the person she's protecting.
No, I think what's even funny about that episode, it goes from the monster.
I was going to get to that. So the entire time, the pirates are mad at this monster. And he's like, what's going on? Who? What? Where? And by the end, he's so beaten by the Gokaigers. He's like, I don't even remember doing this. Did I actually commit this crime?
Because it starts out with him denying it, which I'm like, okay, so you're doing the thing. It's like, we're still going to beat you up, but at least we didn't, for the crime that you actually did of trying to conquer this planet, to the point like you know you didn't do this. Why are you trying to subjugate yourself? The next thing, though, he'll be handcuffing himself for us.
Yeah, but yeah, she's probably technically my least favorite of the crew.
I think there's only one person I dislike more, or I should say dislike, that is not my favorite of the crew.
Yeah. But overall, she is the heart, and you can believe she brings them together. There are times where she feels Luca's overprotecting her and she wants to spread her wings. He stands up to Joe for being stupid about, hey, this whole having an honorable duel thing? Why? We're a team. We should help each other. No, I must show that I am an amazing swordsman. That's dumb. But she then learns to trust him enough to let him do that stupid thing. But when the monster starts cheating, she's the first one to get to cheat back.
Hey, it's only cheating if they do it first. Otherwise, it's evening the odds.
Yeah. I always got the impression that she had at least some self-defense training as a princess. It's just the Gokaiger weapons are so extremely powerful that that's why she can't handle them at first.
Not only that, there's a huge difference between self-defense and a war.
Mm-hmm. She also prefers using dual pistols, but unlike Doc, she has an elegance to her shots. She does them in rhythm so she can properly aim. She does a cute little spin every now and then while shooting. It's just good.
But let's move on
To the ship's navigator.
And
Hey,
fortune
listen.
teller.
This is Navi the bird. The pirate. Bird. Robot. Puppet.
Parrot bird.
Anyway, Navi's job is basically to tell them what the next episode is going to be about.
Yeah, it's pretty much the fortune teller gimmick where they give you a piece of advice. It's cryptic as all hell. And
God, it's big.
it's supposed to make sense by the end of the show. And sometimes, and I kid you not, follow the man in black.
Look for the somewhat spectacular Silver Man.
Find the tiger's cub. At least that one's general enough that you might be able to pull that one off.
The most direct one she gives is danger, danger, danger. And the biggest threat the crew ever comes across is the thing that happens that episode.
Yeah.
She's sassy. But the thing that's her shtick is, to her fortune, she has to preen herself on the head. And I don't just mean like Cap. I mean she has booster rockets in her butt, so she rockets herself into the ceiling.
I'm surprised she's not. Her head isn't flatter than a pancake at this point.
Mm-hmm. So she does the whole rocket around and randomly hit her head into something: a frying pan, ceiling, someone's weapon, into the back of someone else's head.
And
falls
then
just off.
And then she just blurts out some random fortune, and we're supposed to figure that out.
There's a few that are actually hilarious to me because the next crew member we talk about actually can decode this crap because he's a giant dork.
Yeah.
But Navi is mostly just there to be exposition and the plot MacGuffin. She is important to the end of the show.
Yep.
And she is a full crew member. She does her best in situations. She helps defend the ship. It's just she's a tiny mechanical puppet. There ain't much she can do.
Yeah, you can take her out with a baseball bat.
There's a running joke of Marvelous never calling her Navi and just Birdie. And she always goes, Navi's my name.
Birdie.
But it's always Ahim who cradles Navi and takes care of Navi the best. It's just kind of cute. Mm-hmm. I just like how there's an actual puppet for Navi. Like sometimes Navi is CGI, but I'm a sucker for a nice puppet, and it's a clacky movie puppet.
Well, with the way she rockets around, I think it was just easier to do the CGI so you don't damage the puppet.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. There's a reason for it being CGI, but I just like when they don't need to. They just have Navi there. And I do love how one episode they couldn't find Navi, and they do the whole search the whole ship, and they're like, "We can't find Navi anywhere." And Navi shows up wearing a Hawaiian shirt, like, "What's going on? We're looking for Navi. Have you seen Navi?" No, I haven't seen Navi.
I haven't seen myself. There's not a beer here.
Where have you been? Out for a break?
But
I think it's a great design puppet.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing too complicated. It gets the job done, and it fits the pirate motif.
Yeah.
So, speaking of pirates,
this is Bosco. Again, not pronouncing his last name. His is even harder. But he is a former crewmate of Marvelous, and they did not split on good terms.
Well, could you blame him? Look at that smug face. Even I want to punch it.
Yes. Bosco is the thing Navi goes, danger, 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 and he backs it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I like the Zongox as a threat, but when Bosco's on screen, he steals the show.
And this is talking about stealing even from Marvelous, mind you.
He's the anti-Marvelous. The two of them have almost the same level of swagger, but Bosco is as strong as an entire team of Gokaigers.
Yeah. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, dude cheats. He has his own team. So the gimmick of the show is the Ranger keys, little tiny plastic keys that represent past Rangers.
Yep, gotta collect them all.
The Gokaigers can turn into these Rangers. Bosco can turn the keys into sentient, well, not really sentient, but just drones to fight using all the past Ranger powers.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's the bad guy, he got the Sixth Rangers, which, if you know anything about Sixth Rangers in Sentai history, they're usually on their own, able to kick the crap out of the team they're from.
And this one just pulled out 5 of them.
In fact, he has all the Sixth Ranger keys.
Yeah, this is where the Gokai just learned that there's a 6th key to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Why they didn't know this is
they weren't told. They weren't told about it. Bosco found out on his own. It's one of the reasons why he went on to make his own stuff. But yeah, Bosco sold out Marvelous' old captain, and because of that, got these powers and became a privateer of the Zongyak Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So he's basically, what a privateer is, for those who don't know, is a licensed pirate for the government. So he gets to fly around in a sweet customized Zongyak ship. And if he wants to, he can borrow Zongyak troops.
Yeah. And right there, he's got the Green Ranger from the original Power Rangers that was also known as the Zoo Rangers, I think.
Yes, that Zoo Ranger is a Dragon Ranger.
Right. The Gold Ranger from...
On the right there.
Yeah, on
Zeo,
the far right.
Also known as King Ranger from O Ranger.
Right. We got Time Patroller.
We have the Quantum Ranger from Time
Quantum
Force,
Ranger, that was it. I was going to say Titanium.
Also known as Time Fire from Time Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
The Green Samurai Ranger, next on the left, from what was it called in North America? Ninja Storm.
Yeah, Ninja Storm. I'm trying to think of the Japanese version. I'm like, I can't think of that at the moment.
Or Shurikenger in Hurricaneger, who is not samurai themed in the Japanese version.
And then we have
the Omega Ranger from
SPD.
SPD. I do not know what his name was in Deca Ranger.
No, I don't remember it either at the moment.
But yeah, at any time he can summon up to 5. He can summon 5 Rangers at once, and he can summon more than 5.
Yeah, so he cheats, and he cheats well.
He deliciously cheats. Basically, he shows up, goes, "Hey, Marvelous, want to settle our score 1-on-1?" Then does this shit to Marvelous. Luckily for Marvelous, his crew didn't listen to the whole 1-on-1 shit.
Yeah, but that wasn't bad enough. He's got a monkey.
Yeah, Sally the monkey is underpaid as fuck.
Oh, God. So Sally the monkey is both his Bosco's second mate, his entertainment, because I'm pretty sure she can do a one-man band.
Probably, yeah.
And it's also a storage device.
Yeah, that's a safe in her stomach. She can just open the safe and then be a Pokeball for a giant monster for the... That's how Bosco has his... that's the Bosco episode has their giant monster fight.
Yeah. Just
no explanation given how many monsters Sally had in her stomach, how Sally put them there. But she is no slouch. She's able to block gunfire with those symbols. She's able to fight Marvelous 1-on-1 at the start of the show.
Yeah, and block almost the entire team of gunfire.
Mm-hmm. She is no slouch in combat. And she has a tragic end.
Yeah. And I was waiting to see if she had a key in her back to wind up, because she's a mechanical monkey with symbols.
Yeah. But I'm just going to spoil the ending of poor Sally. Bosco beats the shit out of her so the pirates will take pity on her and bring her back to the ship so that she can steal the keys for him.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be safe, he put a bomb around her neck in case she, betrayed him after he just beat her up.
Or got caught in general.
Yeah. And when she realizes that she has a bomb in her neck and Marvelous was so nice to her, she stuffs the bomb in her own stomach so that her safe takes the explosion, but it 100% destroys her.
Yep. Which was how Marvelous survived that explosion, and Bosco didn't know.
Mm-hmm. And then Marvelous kept the memento of her, and that saved his life again. So she saved Marvelous' life twice because he was just so nice to her. And I love this about Marvelous. He's like 100% sure Sally's going to stab him in the back. But by that point in the show, he's just like, I can't leave her behind because Bosco fucked my life over too.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna let somebody else get screwed over by Bosco if he could help prevent it.
And everyone points out that this is pretty much a trap. And he's just like, oh yeah, it is. It's 100%. But I also love
like that they're at least aware of it, and the captain's not pretending that it's not.
But also, when Sally steals the keys to try and give to Bosco, but then has that part and decides not to, the chest was empty. They left the decoy chest near Sally.
Which, you think Sally would have checked that first?
Mm. There's a running gag of Doc trying to speak monkey to Sally. I think Sally doesn't like it. But also, Sally's easily distracted by food.
Bananas.
It's just a good counter. Yeah. So Sally brings the goofiness that, Bosco doesn't have, because Bosco's just pretty much all serious all the time. But
oh God. But
also, side tangent, this is a fact I will always drill home because I don't like Megaforce. Bosco's actor is fluent in English, and he wanted to be Bosco in Super Megaforce. He was willing to basically say, hey, if you put me up for the nights for filming the Bosco stuff in Super Megaforce, I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
And they never even adapted his character. They had the opportunity to have the the Super Megaforce team fight this monkey and didn't do that either. That's how you know they made mistakes.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. But let's move on a second.
To our sixth ranger,
Nostril Man.
Yeah, Soul's all obsessed with how big his nose is.
And look at the size of the bloody thing.
I've seen bigger. Guy Ikari, the man who died to become a ranger. His origin story is he was out for a walk one day. A little kid was wandering into the street, almost got hit by a truck. So he tackles the kid to safety, gets run over by the truck, and then he sees 3 dead rangers who give him his superpowers.
I know
and bring
it was
him back
the
to life.
Dragon Ranger.
Dragon, Time Fire, and Abba Killer, aka Power Ranger with Mighty Morphin Green, Quantum Ranger, and the White Dino Thunder.
White Dino Thunder. I could not remember that one.
3 characters who canonically died in their series.
Yep. Which was a nice touch.
Yeah. And he has access to all the team members can turn into the 6 Rangers, but he primarily fights with the power of the 6 Rangers.
Mm-hmm. He's also the biggest Sentai nerd ever.
Mm-hmm. He knows pretty much everything about it. When Navi gives a few clues after he joins the team, he goes, "Oh, I know the story of that one." Everyone else like, from that vague of a clue? Like, one of the clues is go to the hidden forest. Ginga Man lived in a hidden forest.
He's also the one that needs to be on a downer 24/7 because Jesus Christ, this man is hyperactive.
He has the most poses. He is the loudest. He could easily get on your nerves. He got on Soul's nerves pretty frequently. He teetered on that edge. He was just perfectly.
Look, I will say this one: if characters like Luca didn't reel him in,
mm-hmm.
he could easily be the most annoying character in the show.
I feel like Marvel's the one who leans him in the most, but mostly because he's usually in Marvel's face, like, "You're a leader. Let's go on an adventure."
Yeah, and the thing is, if he wasn't reined in, he could easily be the most annoying person in the entire show.
Yes, I will believe that. I finished shtick hilarious, but it easily could have gotten old fast.
Yeah,
and that's his character.
Yeah.
He's always wanted to be a hero, and he is basically parroting all the Sentai dramatic poses and big speeches they would give, and trying to take this into a serious setting. And everyone's like, "Yeah, we don't know."
Pirates,
and he has to rein that in. And he also has to learn that sometimes you need to be a bit selfish. Like, he wants to be a hero for all the right reasons. But when given the opportunity to give his powers up to a established hero beforehand, who has way more experience, who would do a much better job. Like, they've had years of experience of this. Guy's never been a hero before. He has to stop and go, no, being Gokai Silver is my dream. I'm sorry. You could save the day, but I want to be Gokai Silver.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing he does, though, when he joins the team is try and turn them into proper Sentai members. And I fucking love the joke of he makes like he imagines them all like as I'm the Red Ranger. I'm stoic and heroic, and I take care of children. Hi, I'm Joe. I love baseball. And when it gets to Aki, she's just like, I didn't change in the slightest. And he outright removed Doc from his dream. Doc calls him out on that.
I think the running joke for that in the first couple episodes he appears, like he kept forgetting about Doc.
He also calls Doc by his real name, and Doc doesn't like that anymore. Like, or calls him Mr. Doctor, and is like, no, stop. And because he shows up and he is good at cooking, he is great at cleaning, he's very energetic and able to help the crew much better in a fight. Doc has an inferiority complex, but oh my god, he's me but better.
And the thing is, like, he didn't mean to. It's just how he is. He's not trying to actually replace Doc. He's just trying to be helpful.
Because there's a running joke at the time, the crew had backstories for every crew member except for Doc. Doc's story is he's just some dude. So the meta joke of it slowly affecting Doc of I don't have a backstory. That's why Doc came up with a backstory for himself to be some sort of legendary hero because he was tired of not having his own. His backstory is he is literally some dude they found on a planet who's good at repairing shit.
Yeah.
Whereas
imagine repairing a ship without being there when the ship was built or anything like that. He just took one look at it like, yeah, I can fix this.
Guy can't fix the ship, but Guy has this dramatic backstory of being chosen by 3 Rangers who did heroic sacrifices.
And like I said, his extensive knowledge of all the previous Sentai teams is invaluable to the team. I won't deny that. But
he's also the one to mark out which teams they've seen, which ones are missing.
Yeah, he pulls out like a whole panel with every single team pictures. Where you got those pictures? I have no goddamn clue. Because he's got pictures of ninja teams.
Oh, from his scrapbook.
Yeah, but where did the pictures come from?
Fan sites. Guy feels like the kind of person who has like 5 different like fan wikis he's running. I also love when he joins the Gokaigers, he gives everyone a homemade encyclopedia. I don't mean like he went to a printing press and printed out papers. Oh, I mean like he like glued in pictures, put in notes he handwritten himself, and gave everyone a handbook so they never mistakenly use the wrong team. All right, let's turn into the blasting dinosaur team. No, that's Zoo Ranger. We should have turned into Dino Charge. Or Dino Thunder.
Not a single person studied that book.
Yeah. Or, all right, everyone, let's become the Stealthy Ninja Team. No, that's Siri Kenjer. They're not the Stealthy Ninja Team. They're the Stormy Ninja Team.
Well, at least they don't have the big ears.
Yes. But Guy slowly, while the team slowly becomes more heroic, Guy slowly becomes more of a pirate. By the end of it, he's still obsessed with Sentai. He's still a fanboy to them. He still thinks they're the best thing since rice.
Sliced bread.
No, they're better than sliced bread. But he becomes like, he's a member of the crew. He's never going to be not a hero, but he's a pirate by the end of it. And he's willing to give up Earth to go on a grand adventure with the team.
Now, here's the other thing. He also has one other odd ability that the other team either doesn't have or never actually tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
He can fuse keys.
At one point, he had an existential crisis where everyone turned into characters from Gokaiger. Gokaiger had a 6th and 7th Ranger. Go on Silver? Go on Gold. Go on Silver. Go on Gold. Oh, if only I could be both at once. Their ghosts appear to me. You're saying I can be both? Go on Silver Gold. Go on Wing. Guy, we were having an entire fight when we were having that. What the hell did you do to yourself?
Yeah.
And then Doc realizes later on, hey, wait, we have 15 6 Ranger keys. What if you combine them all at once?
Yeah, so
I could do that? All right, you figured out how to do that while I solo this monster. Monster that kicked the crap out of everyone else. I didn't say this was a good plan, Guy. I said it was a plan.
And so here we are. Guy fused all of his current keys together and made this. Why he doesn't try and fuse the rest of his keys together, or the team doesn't try and fuse their keys together?
I mean, the other team members in specials can use this. You can get Gokai Red Gold mode,
Yeah.
and I actually kind of like Gokai Gold mode. It's a
I,
bit it's a bit goofy. If the heads were bigger, I'd be more upset. I would prefer they were just painted on icons than being 3D helmets. A little bit on the weird side, but it works better than something like Grand Zio.
yeah. If Omazeo just had the heads like this, it may have actually worked better.
If they were more clustered in one spot, too, I think what it is.
But my point being is so you tried this once, you got more keys. Why not?
It's not even. It's not even that they have all the keys of previous things. These are just the 6 Rangers, but these are not all the 6 Ranger keys they get. These are just the ones they had at that point.
Yeah.
Bosco still had a collection of other ones.
So it was just kind of like one of those mystery things. So why didn't you also try fusing the other characters' keys to make them more powerful too? If this is just something you can do, but you're able to use your keys, it just doesn't seem like a bad idea to try.
I'm guessing when he is in gold mode, they can't access these powers. That's fair. But what if you just did that for every team? Have all 5 other Zoo Rangers as one key. That would seem a pretty good power up.
Yeah, or all of the Green Ranger keys fused together for Doc, or blue for Joe, or red for Marvelous. Or even just fusing 2 keys together might be a huge boost in power.
I mean, he never really uses the Gokai Silver, the Goanger Silver Gold key, I think, ever again, besides that one joke where he couldn't make up his mind.
Yeah.
So is he only allowed to make one fusion key? And if he makes a different fusion key, it unfuses the other one?
Now,
it did take him a few minutes in real time to make this. So he couldn't on the fly constantly do this. But when you're on the ship not fighting, why don't you just make the red super key?
Yeah. Now,
and then
you also get a good look at their belt. And the belt is actually really cool because all the keys are in one big chest.
But by tapping the belt flips open, and there's the key they thought of.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming it's the opposite process to put the key back if they need something else.
Yeah. Which is just an easy, out-of-the-way way of doing it. So how they transform is they take out their morpher, put the key in, turn it, and then they transform either into their base Ranger form or their whatever form they want to turn into.
Mm-hmm.
And there does seem to be bonuses for turning into an entire team. Like you get to do that team's finisher, such as the original team's bizarre football for Gold Ranger.
I mean, one of the bigger benefits is one of the teams has metal fists that you can box with,
or gives you heightened senses because you have animal powers.
Yeah.
So, or just turning into ninjas and having all the bullshit powered ninjas heads, Kage no Fujitsu. I'm not even making that up.
No,
and it seems like when they turn into that ranger, they get every bit of skill that ranger ever had. They're still themselves. So when Doc turns into a ninja, yes, all of a sudden he has stealth abilities, but he still has 2 left feet.
But it still somehow works out.
Yes. When they turn into the Magi Rangers or Mystic Force, they have the spells they do. But because Pink Magi Ranger didn't have a very aggressive attack style, he fights slightly different than she does and uses different attack spells.
Yeah. Now, it should be noted to say that we're saying the Sentai team and the Power Rangers.
It just slips out for us.
Well, no, not only that. One of the bigger differences between the two is that the Power Rangers have the morphing grid as a source of power. And that's usually been pretty standard throughout most of the series. I think 1 or 2 kind of go around that.
Yeah.
But
they're retconned in later.
Yeah. The Sentai team, that was never even established at all.
They're all separate individual powers. They're connected by being a Sentai, but it's not like, my ninja powers work great with your video game powers.
Yeah. So the thing is,
it's just more of, hey, we call ourselves Sentai because we're a team of 3 to 7 multicolored heroes who fight danger and protect Japan.
Yeah.
And that's good enough for us.
And the thing is that the Power Rangers got so famous, Japan even adapted that into a show.
Mm-hmm. I don't think the grid is officially done to it, but they do reference Power Rangers a few times
Mm-hmm.
in Gokaiger, such as a scene from Power Rangers RPM. They turn the wheel arm braces into grind weapons, like they could grind the enemy's face. So when the Gokaigers turn into Go Anjer, hey, let's just take that idea Power Rangers did and just have the tire spin on our arm and just grind on the monster's face.
So it's just one of those little things to note that
It
one of
feels
the things that
it feels like Gokaiger honored Power Rangers better than Power Rangers Megaforce did. There, I said it.
yeah. So it's just one of those key differences to really keep note, especially when they do episode or series like this where it's an anniversary. That key difference changes a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah. And they do make a few other Power Rangers jokes here and there. They have a couple of shots that are only for the Western fan base, like, hey, that's more for us, thank you. Like, they don't add in characters like the Titanium Ranger, who was only in Lightspeed Rescue. But they could have done that for like a web series.
Yeah,
They probably the only I think the only reason why they never did it is the titanium suit was never brought to Japan. They kept the titanium suit in the Power Ranger storage locker in New Zealand or North America, wherever it was. Whereas anytime they made a new Power Ranger show, they sent the Sentai suits to the studio for Power
yeah.
Rangers. I don't think they ever returned the favor. Don't quote me on that. That's something behind the scenes for two different series.
Yeah, so let's move on. This is our starting main villain.
Wars Gills, the crown prince of the Zongyuk Empire, and spoiled brat.
And a man without a clue.
Yeah. He is the typical Sentai villain of those cursed pirates, they ruin everything.
Well, to be fair, if you weren't such an idiot, maybe we could get things done.
Warsgill slowly becomes more vicious and starts using his men as living bombs in a sense, and that's when he starts to almost score wins, is when he fights really dirty and actually thinks things through. But 90% of the time in the show, he basically goes, give me a monster of the week. Ooh, you've got a quirky ability. Go and conquer Earth for me.
Yeah, and that really is. He's got an entire armada he could just send down there at once.
Yes. But he's the man in charge. He's surrounded by much more competent people, but this is his big test. The Emperor is like, okay, he's my son. He's going to take over eventually, but he has to score some wins.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is the wins that he does score are quickly turned about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the best score he got is when his father pretty much gave him a invincible mech of his own.
Mm-hmm.
And he even screwed that up.
And the thing is, he screwed it up because he was terrified that if he was not the one to pilot it, it wouldn't be his victory. When it would have been. He thought he had to be the one to do this, and everyone else around him was like, "No, don't do that." But they couldn't do anything more than just advise him not to do that.
Yeah, and
he's a fairly decent comic relief commander. Not the funniest, not the most intimidating. He only gets scary once, and that's when he has his giant robot. And
he
that
kind
quickly
of
gets
reminds
defeated.
me a kind of fusion of Goldar from the original Power Rangers and either the little squat fat guy or the monkey, the other monkey.
He reminds me more of from the third season, Rito Repulsa.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, actually, that's perfect. Yeah,
yeah, he's a goofball, but he actually is slightly dangerous. He does come the first time he ever gets injured, he overreacts to it. Like, he was going to win, but because he got shot, he's not bleeding badly, but it's the first time he's ever been struck, so he has to retreat. And the guys who are winning the fight are his bodyguards and have to go with him. If he
yeah.
never, but he wanted to be on the front line to gloat his victory or gloat that he has one of his dad's most badass warriors on his side. I'm gonna win. A street bullet hit me. Bodyguard, get me out of here. My lord, we're winning. Get me out of here. Yes, my lord.
Yeah, he is.
But you do end up feeling slightly bad for him because right before his death, he admits that Everyone's always been talking smack about his behind his back because, unlike his dad, he's not a warrior. He's not a genius. He's the crown prince. Whenever he's been challenged, he either fails or someone just lets him win. He's never been able to grow. And the only person he trusts in the whole galaxy is a robot programmed to be 100% loyal to him.
Yes, boss.
God, I love Barizog's voice.
I love this guy, but at the same time, he's also kind of what's wrong with the prince.
Mm-hmm. The prince was given one of the most powerful warriors as a toady. That's
and his entire thing is to pretty much kiss the prince's ass.
That being said, though, the prince cares pretty well for Barizog.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's not like how do I put this?
Barizog, it easily could have been that Barizog could have been Walz's favorite toy. You broke my favorite toy. I'm mad at you. No, it literally feels like Barizog is the closest thing I have to a friend, and you took my friend away from me. I hate you, pirates. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate. Oh no, I left myself open.
But the sad thing is that his best friend is a machine programmed to agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can understand, but on the one side, that means Wars knows where he stands at all times. Everyone else, he's worried is just kissing up to him to get brownie points and doesn't like him.
Fair.
At least he knows Barizorg likes me. It's not a genuine, real like me, but it's something. It's something I can believe in. It's not gonna stab me in the back. It's not gonna go behind the curtain and immediately make fun of me. Barizorg is the only friend I have. And I think the prince knows how sad that is.
Yeah, I can't argue that, but like I said, it just feels like this is also the thing that's entirely what made the prince so. Why people talk about him behind his back is because
Daddy gave him this.
Yeah, and you really could have just like, how do I put this?
If Barizorg was the one in charge of attacking Earth, he would have won.
Yeah. Or
Barizorg also has a tragic backstory to himself. He's a cyborg made from one of the best swordsmen in the galaxy, who was Joe's
teacher.
mentor. And the way the cybernetic works, there's nothing left besides his techniques.
Yeah. Like,
so Joe spends a good part of the series trying to get his mentor back, and then finds out from a super scientist there's not enough left of him for anything. And what I love is that super scientist is a Sentai Ranger from a past team who also had something similar happen, where he had to set his friend free by killing them. And he tells Joe, "It's not easy, but it's the only advice I have for you." And it's the best acting Joe does in the entire show.
Yeah.
And he almost collapses in pure rage and sadness that I can't save my senpai. He's dead. And there's this thing walking around with his sword technique. And what I love, Joe gets proven wrong at this. When he's fighting Barizorg one-on-one, he basically says, "You're not real, and I bet if you were hurt, your master wouldn't give a rat's ass. If I got hurt, I know my crew would come back me up. I know they would grieve for me. No one's going to grieve for you besides me." And Wars Guild grieves for Barizorg.
Yep.
Nobody sees it. It's private.
But it happens. I won't deny that.
And that's basically when Wars Guild is at its best, and then Wars Guild stuff.
But Wars also has one other general.
Damaris, the quote-unquote most powerful warrior in the galaxy.
Who literally could take the entire team on his own if the Wars would just get a brain cell and tell him to go do it.
But at the same time, if he just has Damaris do everything for him, is that really his victory?
Yes.
Yes, it is. But to be fair to Wars Guild, the court would mock him for it still, though.
Yeah, and guess what? Hey, Damaris, kick his ass.
Yeah. Damaris is incredibly loyal to the Emperor and to the Prince, but he is the only one on the ship basically going to tell the Prince, "That's stupid. I'm not going to stop you, Your Majesty. You're in charge. That's stupid."
Like, well, the problem is that Wars pretty much cares too much about how people view him without realizing that his status is that he's the guy in charge giving commands, And that he can tell Demarest, hey, listen, I need you to help me become stronger, but let's not do it in front of everybody so that they think I just did it on my own.
Yeah, he's too much in his own foits and fables. He's stuck in his own head, thinking of how poor he is, where he literally has two of the most powerful warriors at his beck and call, who, even though Dameron keeps saying these are bad ideas, he's still loyal to the Crown Prince.
Yeah.
So even if the Emperor died and Wars was put in charge, Dameron is not going to betray the Prince.
No,
the Prince is so used to... But the thing is, because Dameron is honest about his feelings toward the Prince, Wars thinks it's even worse. Because he hears Dameron once say, "Your idiot son?" And Wars thinks, "Oh, that's what he says about me in public. What does he say about me in private?"
But the funny thing is that this is what he says in public and behind his back. He's just being honest about what he thinks.
To be fair, he was asked by his emperor, "What do you think of my son?" He didn't get a lot to his emperor.
No.
He just had balls for that. And Dameron is so fucking tough. It really does feel like that he could take on all 6 Gokaigers and Bosco at the same time.
He kind of did.
Yeah, he kind of did. So when Dameron finally starts acting, shit gets real.
Yeah.
But what I love about him as a character is after the prince dies, he was in charge of protecting the prince. So the emperor shows up and goes, "You let my son die, lock him up." And he gets locked up, and later on they give him a chance to win his freedom back. He just breaks out of the cell like, "I wasn't being held in there. I was only there because the emperor ordered me in that cell."
Yeah. Like the emperor said, take him away. He just walked away with him. He did not fight back or anything. He was like,
he the closest he did is, "Emperor, let me explain. Take him away." "Okay. I wish you'd let me explain, my emperor."
"Shut up and go."
"Yes, sir." And they just sits in the cell for like 3 episodes, and then he just, "All right, you're free to go." Walks through the cell.
Yeah.
"What are my orders?" "Kill the pirates that killed the prince." "Oh, good." I could use some stress release. Unfortunately, Dameron doesn't get to do enough, but I love his design. I love the jacket as a coat cape thing,
Yeah,
and
it
also
feels
their
very
Gatling guns.
much like an admiral of a ship.
Yeah, I also love how he's hiding Gatling guns in those sleeves behind his back.
I just love the fact he literally was one of the few people there that could hop on a planet and take on all 6 Rangers and Bosco and make it look like this is what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Obviously, he loses, so the whole strongest word in the galaxy does feel kind of just a statement about him, not a thing we get to see. So I kind of wish he had more scenes where he basically goes down to Earth, kicks a crap at the pirates, but can't do anymore because he's not ordered to do anymore.
Well, to be fair, they did pretty much beat him by cheating.
Yes, Bosco stabbed him in the back, and they took advantage of him being injured.
Yeah, so it's not like they beat him in a 1-on-1 fight.
No.
So his title kind of stands.
Yes.
Because the only
Also,
person...
he's got the second best voice on that ship. Like, it's a nice, good, deep...
Mm-hmm.
You feel like he's been through shit.
Yes, boss.
It's the best voice on the ship, though. Kaizoku says very few things, but...
I will admit that is probably the best said line in the entire ship.
Yeah. Speaking of members of the ship, this is Insarn.
She's the scientist.
She's the weapons engineer. She's the one who finds the monsters of the week sometimes. It basically goes between Dameron and her, and sometimes Barizog, like, "Hey, you want a commander for this operation? Well, this guy has this ability."
She's also the one that makes their monsters grow with a cannon.
Yeah, she invented a double laser beam thing that increases not just their monsters, but some of their grunts.
Yeah, which is kind of one of the first things I can think of that actually had other grunts grow along with the monster more often than not. Like, I know other Sentais have done it, but this one had more consistency with that.
She's also the last member of the 4 of the original invasion crew to die.
Oh, yeah, she was.
Yep, because basically everyone just starts making... Basically, Barizorg dies. Morris Gills dies. Dameron dies. And everyone looks over her going, "Wow, your crew sucks. And you're still alive. Pretty sneaky. You didn't do anything, did you? You're not only are you incompetent like them, but you're a coward."
And useless.
Yep. So she dies next, trying to pilot a mech based off her own head. I have questions.
She has issues.
Yeah. She also has a couple of comedy episodes. Well, she has one comedy episode about her, which is just weird as all fuck. But it's referencing Car Ranger, which we know is Turbo Ranger, which Turbo Ranger was its own show, which they also make a joke about that because of Power Rangers. And oh god, I've gotten cross-eyed. She is the least interesting member of the original crew.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
So moving on.
Yes.
No, we have Boba Fett at home.
No. This is better than Boba Fett. He's actually terrifying. So we're gonna show off a few of our favorite monsters of the week.
This is
one me and Soul just love. It's literally a suit based off the Mandalorian armor. He's the greatest bounty hunter the Gokaiger come across, who got bored fighting Marvelous when Marvelous didn't make the Gokaigers, injured himself so he'd have a weak spot so that Marvelous next time they met could actually do damage.
Yeah, it's that scar right on his chest there.
He beat the shit out of Marvelous so badly before he had the crew that he gave Marvelous PTSD.
Yep.
It also leads to the episode about one of the most popular Sentai shows, Jetman, where the ghost of the Black Ranger basically coaches them to fight back. And it's a really good episode. They did not want to originally bring back the Black Ranger because he was the most popular, but he did die in show.
Mm-hmm.
So they brought him back as a ghost who somehow got his position back in life temporarily by winning a game of like poker with death. But what I absolutely love about this episode is Guy can't see him.
I forgot Guy couldn't see him.
The Condor Black is named Guy as well.
I forgot.
So Guy's in the background, like looking for one of his favorite Sentais, who's the team is talking to, where he's like, "Who are you talking to? Where is he? I want his autograph."
Yeah, that's another thing from Guy. He's trying to collect all the autographs.
Sometimes he does it at the right time. Other times he does it at the funniest time. But yeah, this was a really good episode. It got to let us see inside Marvel's head, and the fight was good. And this is good Mandalorian armor. Yeah. If that armor showed up at a Star Wars convention, nobody would bat an eye at it.
No.
I mean, he even has like a discount lightsaber.
I kind of like his sword, actually.
I do too.
It kind of makes me think of a Chinese sword. I can't remember what the name of it is.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Anyway, the next suit. This is one of Soul's favorite.
Okay, so apparently, I don't remember. I remember him being a villain in Ninja Storm.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember. I don't know Hurricane Ranger as for the Sentai team. But
this is the son of that character from Hurricane Ranger.
Yes.
Also, he's voiced by Char's Japanese voice actor. So the entire time, I'm just having Gundam flashbacks.
Yeah.
But damn, this is still a good suit. That's one of the things Gokaiger did as well. Is they had characters come back as though this is the son of that monster of the week or commander of the show for homage episodes.
He had a teammate for that episode, but I don't care about him. This guy's cooler.
Yeah. Oh, he can turn into like a Land Shark. He has Star's voice. He's got a badass fan. He has Star's voice.
I think you're kind of stuck on the Char's voice thing.
Okay. He's got an epic sword. He shares a voice actor with Quattro Badan.
But it was just nice, and then you could see.
Sure, it's lazy to reuse a suit and just say, "Oh, it's the son of this monster." It's an anniversary show.
Hi, Hudson.
Also, when you make a suit this good, you got to use it again.
Yeah, I mean, this was really just top notch. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's move on to the next one.
This episode was so good and bad. So for the Decker Ranger episode, they have a plan to use drill missiles, which they'll put in a tunnel that go down to the center of the Earth, fire these down, and cause earthquakes, destroying every major city on Earth. The tunnel takes 20 minutes to get to the center of the Earth, and they never even get there because the pirates just use their Megazord, punch the hole in the ground, and pull the missiles out.
Two things. One, how slow is this goddamn elevator? Literally, they started the elevator, took time to form the Megazord, start a boss fight, Then, even before then, they started down the elevator. So you got to figure at least maybe 3 stories down. Nope. It's like, how? And these are drilling missiles. Why don't you just fire them from space?
All I can think of is, were these missiles piloted by you because they got lost halfway along the way and started going up?
Apparently, because Jesus Christ, they got nowhere. Like, they literally started the elevator before the major fight scene, before
7-minute mark of the episode, and at the 20-minute mark, they pulled them out of the ground.
Yeah, it was just like, oh.
And that's the in show. That's the show time. That's not the in show time. It starts off at mid-afternoon, and the fight happens at nighttime.
Slowest elevator possible.
But the commander looks really fucking sweet. He looks basically, when I see this suit, I think of this could easily be Lord Zed's brother or something like that.
I just think of a mutated brain cyborg.
Isn't that what Lord Zed was?
He was a cyborg brain.
Oh, okay. I just think it's a really good suit.
Yeah, I mean, he's got nice details, and they really tried something different with him.
Yeah, he's also a dual pistol. You know what reminds me of as well? The Digimon Beelzebub.
Okay, I don't see that, but that might just be me.
It might just be the Japanese badass biker with dual shotguns.
Fair. Oh my god, now I just can't help but see that face on his crotch. Like the hockey mask.
I don't see it. I just see the nuclear symbol. Like, he's got a radioactive crotch.
All right, well, if anybody actually watches this, tell us what you see down in the comments.
Yeah, it works. All right, let's go on to another suit.
Why am I here?
This is the mad scientist who made Barizorg, and when he came to Wars Guild to do maintenance for Barizorg and drop off some parts, they told him about all the epic fighters on Earth, so he decided to be a frontline guy and kidnap fighters on Earth so he can make more Barizorgs. I don't know why he was on the front line.
I don't know why you just didn't ask Barzorg or the other guy to go capture some of them.
Yeah, just find me people who are really good at martial arts on Earth and bring them to my lab.
Or, since you guys are watching them from space and I'm assuming you're capturing videos, can I just get the data?
Or you're in charge of Insarn and you're making fun of her for being less technical than you, pull rank and have her do it.
Or, hey, listen, here's a scanner. Scan this when you come across a fighter.
Yeah. Good episode, though. It gave us more backstory for Barizorg and Joe, and this guy's suit actually looks like an evil space mad scientist.
He looks like he's in an early attempt to try to make a mobile mother brain.
Yeah, I also feel like I get some Krang vibes from him, too.
Yeah, I can see that now, too. But for some reason, unless he's in the stomach, Krang is not the first thing that comes to mind.
I guess.
It's a 1980s turtle cartoon that really pops in my head first when I think Krang.
Either way, I could easily see him fighting Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Bosco.
So, yeah, Bosco has a monster form. Fucking sweet.
Who knew?
So when he runs out of Rangers to use as the fight, he decides to fight himself, and he didn't need the 6 Rangers.
No,
he was just styling on them with them.
I love this design. Like, it looks like he's got lightsaber hilts in his gloves,
but they also just look like he could just elbow you with them.
I like he's kind of like I forget what the technical term is, but a samurai mask across his face.
I like how he's kept his feather boa in his human form, in his monster form. It shows off that he cares for his style as well.
Yeah, the shoulder pads are a nice touch.
Oh god, yes, they are fucking intimidating.
And I like the red straps on his legs and arms. It's just really nice design.
Yep.
And even kept somewhat of a pirate hat for his helmet.
Yep. I'm being bitten by a cat right now who wants attention.
Don't all cats want attention?
Not always. Sometimes they want to be left alone.
But, yeah, so when Bosco ran out of keys, he just decided, I'll just fight you in my real form.
Yeah. So one of the things they're trying to do throughout the entire show is meet the previous teams, earn their trust to get their ultimate power. Bosco can just steal them, and he starts using them against the Gokaigers, especially in this form, to kick their asses.
Yeah, so one of the bigger, I would guess I would have to say, mysteries of this is the great power from the teams.
Yeah, that he stole from.
It's not in the keys themselves.
No.
The team has to recognize the Rangers, in a sense.
Yep.
And they either are granted the power or gifted or awakened to this great power that oftentimes usually goes to a figuration for their Megazord, which will show off in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe their ultimate attack if the team never had a Megazord.
So, or in one case, they get a helicopter even though they didn't have a Megazord.
Yeah.
It's a bit confusing. But this suit led to I'm just going to say it, the best fight is Bosco's final fight with Marvelous.
Yeah. That fight is worth watching. I will highly agree. But my point is, it just felt like one of the few things that I nitpick about this show is the ultimate power for each Ranger team, because it feels like some of them are aware of it, some of them don't even know about it. It's like
sometimes it feels like you need to get from one specific member or just meet anyone, and that one could be the team rep.
Yeah, so it's like, I understand it's because they couldn't get the entire team or the probably maybe person they wanted. I can understand that and respect that. But the inconsistency with this power is what really drives me a little bit crazy with this show.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough to say that I hate the show. Like I said, it's the one little nitpick I have with it.
Yeah, it's a fair nitpick. It really feels more like what we need for this episode. The powers do that.
Yeah. Because one of the things I love about a show is consistency. It doesn't have to be the greatest thing ever, but the randomness of that power does leave a little to be desired.
I do like how for one of them they got the ultimate power, but then couldn't use it because they hadn't gotten the receptacle for the ultimate power.
Right.
Which they did point out, so they could do a kind of crossover that team twice.
Yeah.
The first time was in a movie, the second time was the actual episode, which feels like we weren't sure we were going to have a Go Onter episode. Oh wait, we have time for a Go Onter episode.
Yeah, so I guess because with the inconsistency, it can feel too much like a Deus Ex Machina at times.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So it's not the worst thing, and how do I put this? If it was kind of understood where this suddenly came from and why the teams are the ones that have to give it to them, and it's not in the full team or in the keys or anything like that, it's like some sort of explanation for where this came from and why the teams are aware of it now.
Mm-hmm.
But, like I said, not the worst thing ever.
Yeah, if that's our worst problem with Gokaiger, it's done things right.
Yeah. But moving on.
Speaking of done things right, here's the actual Emperor, Emperor Gills. I think he is a fucking badass suit.
And he can back up what he claims.
For a short while during his fight with Marvelous and Guy, the two strongest members of the team, technically, he doesn't even leave his throne.
No.
He starts backing them. He starts beating them up while on the throne. It's only because the two of them trying to crash his spaceship that he has to pretty much get off.
Yeah, when he gets up, yeah, things kind of did not go the Sentai team's way. They were literally having problems left, right, down, up, and every other direction from this guy.
Mm-hmm. Again, good suit, really good action, and those shoulder pauldrons do exactly what I wanted to, which is to shoot laser beams.
You and your laser beams.
I like laser beams. Sue me. I seem a little bit distracted. My cat really wants attention, so I'm playing with him while we do a podcast.
But the thing about like him is like when he's sitting on his throne and he's just giving orders, he does have that feel of being in charge. He literally had the combination of the menacing looking of the suit, the voice acting, and just the suit actor with the posing.
Yeah, the angles also they shoot him at.
Yeah, the can work really
Nothing.
helps to it.
Yeah,
He just has
and
an aura of command and menace.
and I probably the second best fight is just the whole six Rangers just wailing on him, and he keeps getting back up.
Yeah, it's another good fight. It's worth watching.
Mm-hmm. And a very good way to end the show.
Yeah, I mean he was worthy of being called the final boss.
Yeah. Again, he did show up near the end of the show, so we didn't get much of his characterization, but we did get to see his actions. So
Well,
that's nice.
I think from that we kind of really delved from what everybody else says about him, and him being the lord of the entire empire.
Yeah, I mean, it literally feels like they could have done more show than tell, but sometimes that's all you have time for in a show.
Well, in my opinion, from what they did a good job of it. I kind of appreciate that more than overusing him.
Yeah, they could have used him a bit more, but they easily could have overused him.
Yeah.
He basically has the same problem I have with Damaris. Is we had a little too much tell, not enough show, but if you did overshow it, it would have been bad. I think Bosco is ate up too much of their screen time, but because I like Bosco more than them, I'm okay with it. Again, I'm looking for nitpicks here.
Yeah. So let's move on.
This one of the sweetest ride Space has ever shown off.
Yeah, and one of the most confusing, in my opinion.
This is the Gokai Galleon. This is where the pirates live, where they fly around in space in.
Where they dock the other 4 vehicles.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Somehow they're inside the ship, which would mean there's no room for the inside of the ship.
It's like a magic bag of holding.
But you got to respect a ship that's prepared for ramming speed at any time.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that Bosco tried to steal from Marvelous was the ship. But Marvelous managed to keep the ship, and it's become his home for years.
So, actually, you know what? The other thing that kind of bugs me, I'm not sure if it was explained in the movies, and if it was, I do apologize to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the other ships come from? Like, were they always in this, or did they get built and get stored in here?
I think they only became accessible when they started having other colored Rangers.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, considering the fact where one of the Zords come from, I guess I shouldn't ask too many questions.
That's fair. Again, we're going to keep flip-flopping on terms because the Sentai don't really have a term besides for Megazord for All.
Look, I grew up with Power Rangers. It's just kind of more natural to me.
And Zord just sounds cool.
Yeah, it does. So you say Megazord.
Yeah.
But, like I said...
Speaking of Megazord, Gokai-O, or Gokai King.
It's not a bad design. It's simple, it works, and it's not overbloated with other Zords.
Yeah, thank you, Shin Kenger. Shin Kenger.
And I think the suit actor can appreciate being able to move in this thing.
Mm-hmm. And as Soul pointed out, the dump truck foot on the left looks like a treasure chest. It looks nice.
Yeah, it kind of fits a motif, and you kind of see the anchor motif on the other foot.
Yeah, which is a submarine. Unfortunately, like on many Sentai shows, the 4 limbs don't really do much. They're just literally only there for the boat to be a robot.
Yeah.
Which she could have gotten away with by just having the boat transform as a full transformer.
I mean, I think they're really terrible with it within this show. Again, a nitpick. Yeah. Because the only time you ever see other vehicles, they pop out of the ship and they just go instant transformation.
Yeah. If they do anything in the movies, well, good for the movies, but we're talking about the TV show.
Mm-hmm. So then we get put into this, which is canon mode, something or other.
The original finisher for the Gokai-O, which you know, hit someone with big enough cannonballs, you're gonna win eventually.
Yeah, especially if you can aim dead set mass. And they launched cannons balls. They just kept launching and launching and launching.
Yep. The arms and legs opened up to show off. This is where we store ammunition.
And we're not going to stop firing until we're out.
Yep. The Gokai Starburst, I believe the attack was called.
Yeah.
But they also have other tricks up their robot sleeves.
Merchandising.
Take me out to the ball game. Most people play ball by not hitting the enemy in the nads with their baseball bat.
Jesus Christ, I forgot that's where he hit him.
I'm pretty sure that's what they hit him. I can't remember for sure.
I love the fact that there's little sabers on his hips.
That's actually his swords. He stores them there. I love that he actually stores his swords when he's not using them.
Oh, yeah, they are. I don't see him here when he has them out. Okay, I guess because of the different handle designs, it the other saber just didn't look right to me. But I see it on this one. Yeah, okay.
Because the two hands are shaped differently. You can kind of see.
Yeah, okay, I see it here. Okay. I didn't realize that. That was me.
Yeah. That was a toyetic decision, which, speaking of toys, there's some weird things this toy can do.
Oh, by the way, here's the pilot.
Navi?
No. But this is also another nitpick of mine. But
Navi doesn't do enough?
No, I just don't like having a steering wheel like this to try and control a Megazord.
It gets more confusing when it's combined and everyone else just has other steering wheels.
Yeah, because this is the room, and then it's like the other ones just kind of pop up in here with Marvelous, and they all each have their own steering wheel.
Like, what happens if Doc spins right while everyone's spinning left?
Like, I get Mystic Force with magic and stuff like that, and
where Time Force had they stuck their swords in and they just hold their hands in front of the swords, but that's future tech. But steering wheels just make you go left or right.
Yeah, once again, I kind of just if you're gonna give me a robot with controls, give me buttons and switches and control sticks.
Don't give me hologram buttons. I keep thinking my finger's gonna go through them when I try to be dramatic and push a button.
If you're gonna give me a hologram, have it for diagnostics to show where in 3D where the robot's broken and stuff like that. I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But 6 different wheels that we're gonna try and figure out where this is gonna lead to.
7, because remember, Guy uses 2 wheels at the same time to steer his.
That just raises even more questions.
Sometimes he spins them in opposite directions.
Right, this is Guy shit. Megazord, what have you. Mind you, this is made from Ghost in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Figure that one out.
Yeah, it's a flying drill ship.
That turns into a dinosaur.
It's the pirated version of Mechagodzilla. Yeah, that's a joke they make constantly in the show. We're the pirated version of this team.
It also has its own, for some reason, really small version of that. I don't know why that came out so small.
That's a tiny image. I forget the name. I can't remember the name of this Megazord.
Let me see if I can get that. Let me.
Yeah. You can fix that. Great.
There we go.
Dislike it, but I don't. It doesn't wow me as much in robot mode as it does in.
No, it really doesn't. I like the dragon form the best.
Yeah, the drill form just makes me think he's trying to drill you with his crotch.
Well, the thing about the drill form, and give me just one second. Now I'll zoom in here. Is where the dragon or the dragon's head is.
Yeah,
weird. This is just weird. And the thing is, it almost looks like he's crashing the ship to start the transformation too. Yeah,
and he does almost always go from ship, dragon, to robot.
Yeah, so the other 2 forms rarely do anything.
At least sometimes in the Dragon Sword mode, he just breathes fire on shit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the misuse of this Megazord doesn't end there because, well, every good 6 Ranger combines with is what happened to the rest of it.
Yeah, so we just kind of took the arms from his Zord, making that completely useless, and removed Joe and Doc's from here and made them useless.
You wasted a perfectly good Megazord. It still has functioning legs and a dragon head. Oh wait, no, the dragon head's his left hand.
Well, technically, they wasted 3 Zords on this one.
Yeah, I suppose so. So that's very wasteful, guys.
And then we have.
It's not their worst idea.
Now we just got rid of the legs for some unknown reason.
So one of the ultimate powers they got from Gokaiger was to summon their car buddy. They didn't have a car buddy, so they couldn't summon anybody. So they had to make a car buddy. which is the son of 2 other Megazords.
Look, if we're gonna start asking questions now, it's a little too late.
So some Megazords can fuck.
Yeah, well, there goes the PG rating.
I think Marvels will appreciate the losing of the PG rating.
But my problem here is that this just really does not work for me.
Well, first of all, it's based off a dragster car, basically, so it can only really go straight. Yes, this one can fly by having its wheels fold up in the Back to the Future style flight, but still.
And if this thing falls over or tilts, good luck.
Help, I fall and I can't get up. But yeah, that's what some of their ultimate powers do, is just power-ups for their Megazord. Some of them worse than others.
This is one of the good examples.
From the Hurricaneger, they get Fujimaru, who was actually a character in Hurricaneger, who got upgraded to be their armor. Who also is a sentient little ninja robot who goes
before throwing so many shurikens at you. You're a pincushion.
Yep. Doing all the standard Japanese media ninja stuff. Kagenoba Jutsu, illusions.
And being just one of the overall more useful ones.
Yes. I also think it's a good redesign for the Gokaiger.
Yeah, the helmet works. The green really kind of adds to the color, and the shurikens are a little much, but they're not in a position where they're going to be in the way.
No. And I do like having the Hurricaneger like symbol in the chest. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Then we had this monstrosity.
It is a monstrosity. Absolute terrible monstrosity.
I don't like the helmet, the chest. That hand is way too big.
Yeah, it doesn't really shoot missiles.
It just shoots the giant fist like Mega Man's rock hand.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about the legs that it looks like it kind of like split in half to make the 2 feet. That kind of looks weird.
Yep. Yeah. It's just a weird design. I don't know why you would do that.
I mean, the chest piece just kind of looks like it gets in the way of the arms as well.
Yeah, I hate that chest piece, but I really hate the hat. The hat is so weird.
Yeah.
1 second.
No problem.
Yeah.
But it's just such a weird design that with all the stuff they really could have worked with on this to make even adjustments to various things with all the Zords they could have done with this. This felt kind of almost I wouldn't say shoddy, because there's obviously some work put into this.
Yeah, I think shoddy's the word I want to use.
Well, they tried, but I don't think it was in the right direction. It's the best way I can put it.
Definitely was not in the right direction.
But at the same time, it's not the worst design Zord I've ever seen.
No, it is not.
Which we might make a list on that someday.
I think I already know which one wins for me. But at least let's show off all the toys.
Yep, wrong button. So we have the dragon from the
Magi Ranger, Mystic Force.
Yes. The lion from
Gal Ranger. Also, somehow the samurai.
Oh yeah, I forgot they did a double transformation with that one.
Mm-hmm. That one also replaces the legs.
Yeah, which somehow works better and not worse at the same time. It's kind of one of those weird things.
For the Decker Ranger, it gets a car that can turn to guns or Gatling guns.
And they got the second race car, which is still part of the Zord on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Fujimaru there on his hovering shuriken.
I just liked its voice.
I just liked the nin.
Well, that too.
But the dragon just kind of comes out, puts a binding circle on the enemy, and just kind of...
The binding circle then collapses and crushes them and they explode.
Yeah, and then he just fucks off.
You gonna argue with the dragon?
No, but I can say what he does and think he could have done more.
Mm-hmm.
But that's generally really all he really does.
Yeah.
Lion just comes in, roars, gets ridden, and then just kind of fucks off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least when he did the samurai thing, they got a cool Naginata and used that for a good while.
Yep.
But oh, by the way, the original leader of the team was a ghost.
Yes. For the 30th anniversary, they introduced a character called Aka Red, who is kind of the spirit of all Red Rangers. So he decided to form the Red Pirates to travel to the stars and gather all the missing Sentai team powers that they used back in the day. And he made his crew the Red Pirates. Aka Red the leader, the cook Bosco, the cabin boy Marvelous, and their navigator Navi.
Why he didn't give them keys or morphers beforehand?
He never intended to, actually. His intentions all along was to use the Red Pirates to gather the Ranger keys and bring them back to Earth, so the Earth would have its defenders again. Bosco didn't like that. He wanted the ultimate treasure for himself. So he felt betrayed by Aka Red. So he tried to sell him to the Zongyak. Aka Red stood his ground and kind of died. Can ghosts die?
Can they get better?
That's a big lapel pin. I mean, when he was the 30th anniversary, he only said 30. Also, he's voiced by Amuro Ray, so there's your Gundam connections again. But yeah, after Bosco betrayed them, Aka told Marvelous to run with the galleon and the keys and find the greatest treasure, and that became Marvelous' goal because he thought that's what his father figure Aka Red wanted. Bosco basically said he was going to betray us all along. But by that point, Marvel's like, it's my dream now. If Aka Red shows up and says we can't do that, fuck him. But fuck you because you shot us first. He was going to betray us. You still betrayed us first.
Well, to be fair, I still don't like your smug face.
God, no.
Well, how do you know Aka Red didn't have a smug face? Well, he never showed it.
I mean, that might be his head.
Well, that's the only emote he had. He still didn't show a smug face.
That's true.
But I think this is also kind of a connection to the
well, obviously the 30th anniversary.
Well, not only that, I'm talking about from the Power Rangers, the
spirit of a ranger kind of thing.
The spirits of the
yeah.
Oh my god, what I just call that? Where they get their power from?
Morphin Grid?
The emissaries of the Morphin Grid.
Morphin Masters, I believe they were called in Power Rangers.
Something to that effect. I think this is just kind of like a nod to that also.
Probably. Or
and here we have quite possibly the dumbest episode of the entire show.
I'm just gonna sit back and let you rant. Well, not sit back, but stand back here and play my cat while you rant.
Where do I
It's also one of the funniest episodes in my opinion.
Okay. Okay, basically this starts the episode with Luca going to buy a new ring, and a girl just comes in and says she's buying in the entire jewelry store.
Yeah, not the supply, the store.
Yeah. It turns out later that her father and her used to be poor and lived together and were happy until a meteor fell in their backyard and revealed to have a growing gold tree. Now, if they kept this secret and used this for the source of their unfathomable wealth, I wouldn't have so much of a problem with it. But not only do they show it off, the government is aware of this.
It's in magazines.
I'm sorry, no government alive would be stupid enough to let one person own or control this thing. I don't care how nice they would pretend to be. That ain't happening.
Mm-hmm.
For one thing, it would so screw up the economy.
Yep.
Second thing, gold is a hell of a conductor, so great for computers and shit like that, people.
Gold's used in pretty much anything that, you plug into your wall.
Yeah. So,
like the tree alone could revolutionize medical technology immensely. And that's
and
not to say what it could do for weapons technology, which is what the Zongyak wanted for, because it's available to find out it exists on Earth by reading Earth magazines.
and this guy is so willing to show off where he stores it to newly hired help.
It means it's behind sensors.
Can't really place sensors, mind you, but
That's why the Zongyak sent a guy whose ability is to turn invisible. And leads to Luca's best fight in the series, where she's bullying the monster and saying, "If you don't pay me, he'll get past me. Oh no, I'm losing strength. 2 million. I don't know. 10 million. Okay, thanks, Mr. 10 million monster. Whoops his ass."
But it's like, this tree must also have the condition of making people stupid. Because,
Well,
like I said,
yeah.
no government alive would let you keep this thing. And with the way you showed off, I'm surprised somebody else hasn't already stolen it.
Like, that's the entire plot of a Sentai show, protecting that golden tree.
Yeah. And it's like...
And it's just used for an episode of the day where they teach you the value of wealth is not just money, but, your family.
I'm also kind of curious... Good
lesson. Here's way of telling it.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of curious about, like, this thing is a growing tree of gold. That shit ain't natural.
Well, it's from space.
Yeah, but it also kind of makes you wonder, why does it thrive on Earth with just water and no sunlight?
It's from space.
It just hurts my head.
It's made of metachlorians.
That just raises further questions.
It's the reason why no one ever strangled Captain Kirk.
I'll go with it. And then there's this.
Okay, so originally I hinted at that weird episode about Incern being based off Turbo Ranger. Never mind. Well, the monster of the week in that episode didn't explode. He just landed in the trash. And then the humble octopus ball seller made him a dog. And
didn't transform him into a dog.
No, just started treating him like a dog.
Yeah. And
because
then,
he wanted a pet.
I forget how, but how did he start trying to date his mother?
Well, the Gokaigers point out to the Takiyoka salesman that that's kind of cruel to a sentient life form to make him a dog. Oh, okay. Well, why don't you make him your apprentice, Takiyoka salesman? My mother wouldn't approve of that. Well, let's talk to your mother. I don't like aliens. How dare you not like aliens? We are the great Zongyak Empire, and this guy is willing to be a dog? Look, we're trying to spend propaganda that we're amazing, and he's ruining my propaganda campaign. Shut up. We're having family dinner right now. Oh, okay.
Oh, by the way, take off your shoes.
Well, yeah, your civilized people take their shoes off when they enter someone's house.
But what I love about this one is the big guy with like the 3 heads over there in the right hand corner is supposedly friends with the other alien. So he's trying to encourage him to get back into fighting.
Yep. Or at least not be a dog.
Yeah.
Anyway, the episode ends with the monster from the previous episode saving the mom, and then they go out to elope and open a hot springs restaurant.
Oh, by the way, by the end of the episode, apparently the mom was mentioning that she's with child.
Damn fast. Anyway, it basically feels like the Gokaigers don't even belong in this episode, and they're just the entire time going.
To be fair, look at the Gokaiger during this episode. Marvelous doesn't care.
Doc is in the background, just like, can we go home now? Joe's I didn't bring my Game Boy.
Joe is kind of like contemplating what he's doing with his life.
The only one who looks like they belong there again is Ahi, because she's too sweet to be mean to anybody.
Guy is trying to shoo them out like he's shooing out improper guests. Like, go away, you don't belong here.
You were invited to this family dinner. How rude.
Luca looks like the daughter that doesn't want to be involved in the family group.
I think that's just Luca's general vibe anyway.
And you know what? I really don't blame her because this is insanity.
It is. Hilarious episode.
Oh my god. Like, this is the goofiness done right, in my opinion. I mean, it raises so many questions, but at the same time, I'm just having fun laughing at everything.
Gokaiger doesn't do every episode as an anniversary episode. Like, sure, Zellastone started off in the Car Ranger special, but this episode is just about him and the Gokaigers being weird. No real ongoing plot, but it's just fun and weird.
I mean, they bring about. I mean, some episodes are more serious than others,
but they don't overly linger on comedy or serious.
But they do. Interesting. I think there's like, what was it, like 5 groups we don't meet. They were movies exclusive.
Yeah, which they probably have bigger roles in the movie.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember because I want to say I can at least remember 5 that I don't remember meeting in the show.
We don't have any images of this episode, but the reference for Time Ranger actually clues up a plot point from that show that was like 10 years previous, which is one of the Rangers went back in time and had a son, and you get to meet that son, and the Time Ranger finds out, oh my goodness, we did have a kid in the past.
Which...
Anyway, let's go on to the next image. So,
Ninja Man.
At 7:48, we met Ninjor.
Or the Dudley Do-Right of Power Rangers.
Yeah. For the Kaku Ranger episodes, we had 2 episodes about Kaku Ranger Descents. Originally, it was going to be the White Ranger from Kaku Ranger they were going to meet, but because of traveling through time, they saved the temple that Time Yellow's son would have died at, which Ninja Man was locked up in. So they go back and check the temple after it was, hey, wait, we never actually followed up on that plot point. And he was inside.
He was apparently banished there from his masters for overreacting.
And he knows nothing about the Zangyok, nothing about what's referred to by some as the legendary battle, where all the Power Rangers Sentai lost their powers. So he's greatly in shock. But because he was taught the lesson of don't overreact or don't follow your instincts too much, he doesn't give the Gokaigers their powers right away.
He wants he wants to be able to trust them, but he doesn't want to trust them too much right away.
Yeah. I do like how they try to make him feel comfortable at home by making him food and then going through different teams. Like they also turned to all blue Rangers at one point, so he feels at home because, hey, we're all blue.
Hey, we're all lions.
Yeah, that was cute. And I'm a lion.
So eventually he does trust them, and he shows off his magic cloud.
Only not the terrible toy version from the 90s, the actual CGI version he has. But the Kaku Ranger ultimate power is to summon him at Megazord size, which they never do ever again, and I kind of wish they did because, it's like one of the last few episodes they have. They could have had him show up 2 more times.
Yeah.
But it's just, he's a very good culmination of, showing how far the Gokaigers have come. Because before, they probably were just beating the shit out of him until he gave him the powers.
Yeah, that sounds like them, all right.
It also shows Guy's growth, that he doesn't spend the entire time fanboying over Ninja Man, who was a big help to the Kaku Rangers. Even though Soul pointed out how the hell does he know about ninjas.
There's a lot of inconsistencies there, but...
And it also pointed out to me and Soul how freaking different Ninja Man is over Ninjor. Like, I like both of them. Like, Ninjor and Ninja Man are 2 very different characters and they're both good.
Look, I'm sorry. After Em really basically pointed out to me that Ninjor sounds like Dudley Do-Right, I can't unsee or unhear it.
It worked for Ninjor. Even it makes him so angry. I'm sorry, my Dudley Do-Right is terrible. Also, my Ninjor is terrible in that sense.
Hey, it still works, and it's just freaking hilarious to me. I can't unhear it now, and it just makes it all the better.
Mm-hmm.
But this entire show, I would rank well within.
Oh yeah, this is a
semi-perfect.
Solid 9.
Solid 9. I think once again, because I can't really say anything's truly perfect, and there are some things that could easily nitpick, like the powers and a few other little things.
Like, I imagine if we were bigger Sentai fans, this would be almost a 10, like 9.5. But as just the most casual of casual Sentai fans, who are only technically Power Rangers fans,
Yeah.
this really made us want to watch several Sentai shows,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the things you want an anniversary show to do.
Yeah,
But you also
especially if when you're jumping in, it doesn't make you feel like you're
missing out on things. There's a couple of Easter eggs that we're like, what? But never once does it feel like, hey, you didn't watch this show, so you can't get anything. But best of all, not only was it an anniversary show, Gokaiger was still a good show on its own. If you take out the anniversary stuff, the stuff with like Bosco, Damaris, the Emperor are still really good villains.
Mm-hmm.
You have to change a few things about the power sets, but
Like
just have
it feels like a solid show all on its own that doesn't need to be an anniversary show, but because it is an anniversary show, it shows off just enough to give you the basic idea of what the other show might have been about. Like it doesn't go one for one and reveals everything.
like I think every one of the Gokaigers could work in a non-anniversary show except for Guy. He only really works because of the anniversary stuff, and he improves it.
Yeah.
Like Bosco having Ranger keys passed. It doesn't have to be Ranger keys. He could just have like a pack of Sallies and surprises them with more monkeys.
Surprise! Monkey!
I have a monkey in a barrel. In fact, the barrel's full of monkeys. Not as cool or badass as summoning more Power Rangers from
Now
the
I'm just
past,
picturing as he's doing that, the Donkey Kong music plays. My God, they missed that opportunity to do that joke.
Mm-hmm. Again, I will never forgive Power Rangers Mecha Force for not using Bosco or Sally because they're just fun.
But
like they couldn't have used the final fight with Bosco. That was too intense for Power Rangers to the point where the actors were surprised how much of it actually was shown on TV.
Yeah, Sentai got away with some things more than Power Rangers, but that's not what we're here to discuss.
Although I think Power Rangers beat Sentai in one situation.
What's that?
On-screen child death was done in Power Rangers, I think, before Sentai.
Yeah, it's possible.
I think.
But
don't quote me.
Like we said, a solid 9, maybe 8, only because of how fast you can nitpick some things.
Yeah.
But it's definitely high up there.
If you're not into Power Rangers, you certainly won't like this. And if you're only into Power Rangers and can't stand Sentai, this will not be for you. This
but
probably won't sell you the difference between Sentai versus. You can love both or love one. I like both.
Yeah.
But this will not. This could easily not be the one that makes a Power Ranger fan to a Sentai fan.
In my opinion, if you like Sentai and you're not sure what series to watch, this is actually a good starting point, and it gives you an idea of what the other shows might be like, so you can go and find them to watch.
Like, honestly, if you're watching for a while and they come up to an anniversary episode and you're kind of curious about plot points from that show, that might be just a good spot to stop Gokaiger and go watch that one. That might be one for you.
I will admit to this one, as much as I love Ninja Storm, this is sparked a curiosity into me to watch Hurricane Ranger just to see what the differences are.
I kind of want to see Cockroach Ranger because, well, Cockroach Ranger was made into Alien Ranger, which was not great.
I was going to ask which one was that because my brain does not translate the names well.
Yeah, that's fair. Plus, the Cockroach Rangers were my favorite suits.
Fair.
Well, second favorite suits.
But I'm just saying, like, the two teams, the Cockroach Rangers and the Hurricane Rangers, are the two shows that it kind of made me want to look into.
Yeah.
So it does its job quite well.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I think it's time we kind of came to a close.
Yeah. We should.
M.
Hmm?
Have you seen your Zombie? Oh, no, we're not there yet. Forgot.
No, we're not done. Oh, right. You wanted to show off the other special episodes where they dealt with.
Okay, so
Kruger. This is Deca Rangers Kruger, the leader of those police rangers. This is what his suit looked like in Deca Ranger.
Yeah.
In Power Rangers, we had the same character, Kruger, Doggy Kruger. So much prefers his Western suit.
Here's the thing. Me and Ed both agree they kind of need a middle ground for this.
Yeah, I don't like the skin texture on the North American Kruger. But I also agree with Soul that that fuzzy one not blinking is weird. Also, its jaw barely moving.
Yeah, I like the kind of like beard thing they gave this one. It was front facing. That I've seen some images, like the wise old beard that the wise man strokes when he's thinking.
Yeah, he feels more wise,
but he does not blink. He is literally staring into your soul, and it is terrifying at times.
But the Deca Ranger episode was really good. It was one of the first tribute episodes they did, and they came out swinging with their tribute episodes because it could have very easily been a bad episode.
Yeah, I mean, there's one or two points I didn't like, but overall it came out as a strong episode.
Like how long the missiles take to fire?
Yeah.
I like how, even though Kruger doesn't have his powers, he still tries to fight crime. Even though he's bleeding badly. But I also like how, even though at the time they think the Gokaigers are wanted criminals by the entire galaxy, he's well aware that, arresting pirates or arresting terrorists who want to blow up cities. Priorities are straight with that guy.
Yeah.
However, his priorities are not straight, and then he's willing to take bounties for the Zongak Emperors, not realizing there's the Zongak Empire.
Yeah, there is a kind of a question on that one. And then you get a little bit of a look at the Morpher, too, that also doubles as a phone.
The Mobirate.
Oh, is that what it was called? I forgot.
Yeah, Mobirate. It's a decent name.
Yeah.
I like how when you put the key in, the phone opens up even more to show the Gokaiger logo. Oh, one thing we didn't talk about, we need to talk about the show. The music in Gokaiger is so good. I don't care for the opening theme song, but the fight song, like just the fight music and the badass pirate walk song, so good. And the Mobirate voice for when they transform. Go! I want a Mobirate just to play with the keys and just hear all those voices nonstop.
Again, that's kind of one of their gimmicks for that they use to try and sell more toys.
The Mobirate is so popular, they've done like 3 re-releases of it with teams that came out after Gokaiger.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, after watching this, I want the Sentai Alien Ranger Morphers.
Oh yeah, the Kaku Ranger Morphers.
Yes.
Those are nice. I think the last one they did was for the 45th anniversary for Sentai. And they're up to the 50.
I'm feeling old. Stop it, M.
I don't know if you guys can hear that background noise, but it's obnoxious to me. Anyway, I think we should now wrap things up.
Yep. By the way, have you seen? Oh no, we've got one other thing.
Oh yes, Captain Gaivalus. For a web episode, Insert decided to create some sort of fusion ray, and she hit Guy and Marvelous, and this is just Marvelous's actor showing off.
Yeah, Marvelous is a good actor. I'll give him that.
So it's basically Marvelous with Guy's personality traits, but they also can talk to each other in their shared mind.
I mean, with Guy's powers, they made this.
Gokaiger, which also led to the first time we ever saw Gokai Red Gold mode. It's a fun, goofy episode.
Yeah, and it just shows off, like M said, Marvelous actors' acting skills.
And also all 35 Sentai changes back to back in order, which was just the phone and Guy screaming constantly all the previous teams.
And Marvelous just standing in the background like,
yep, you do you. You do you crazy, energetic kid.
Yeah. But it was fun. It just showed off more things, and I think they just do that like they're just to have that done.
The web episodes are fun.
Yeah. By the way, M?
I don't have a Zanpakuto.
No, I was going to ask. Does this look familiar to you?
Well, considering you've already kept talking about it, you've already ruined what this is. Go think about what you did in the corner, young man. Go think about what you did in the corner and listen to your instincts.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
His instincts are just going to make him order another pizza, isn't it?
Hi, Domino's.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.